crazy too. I am beautiful, and so I got you. I see a fire burning, I see it in your eyes. Got something for you, baby, it's a big surprise.
Hi everyone, my name is Tamara, and welcome to 2G5G, a lesbian edition. And this is my co-host Karen. She will be taking audience questions and Twitter questions. So if you want to tweet, you can at PrideWestern or hashtag 2G5G, whatever you will. And then I'll let the panelists introduce themselves.
Okay, I guess we're starting over here. My name is Kelly Hobson. Are we telling facts about ourselves, or?
Oh, why not?
My name is Kelly Hobson. I'm from Markham, Ontario, a small suburban town. And I'm in 4th year Media and Public Interest in the Faculty of Information Media Studies.
My name is Courtney Warren. You can call me Warren, because there's way too many Courtneys in the world. But I am from London, and I'm in my last year here at Western. I'm Val Pepin. I'm 2nd year, and I'm in science.
I'm Jessica. I'm 3rd year in biochemical genetics.
I'm Amanda. I am born and raised in London, and I am a 2nd year Brescia student studying psychology and family studies. Represented affiliates.
Okay, so before we get started, I just want to let everyone know that there's going to be a lot of sexually explicit content. So if you're offended, that's no big deal. You can get up and leave. No one will, everybody will be okay with that. With that being said, I'm going to start with a pretty big question. So if it's something you're not into, then you have the chance to get up and leave now. So, girls, please, can someone explain scissoring to me? And if you do this.
Oh, we're cutting to the chase.
That's the good stuff. Not really.
Who wants to start?
Okay, well, I think scissoring is kind of a misconception, a little bit, with most people. Yes, it's done in bed. No, it's not that pleasurable, and you can't really come from it at all, actually.
I wish I had Barbies to demonstration, because I don't get it. Like, I do, but I don't.
Well, you have to, place your body in, a certain way, so pretty much just throw the juices out.
It's called scissoring for a reason. Pretty obvious. I feel like
it doesn't hurt as much.
I feel like this is the #1 question, and I can't even answer it, so I got nothing.
So would you say it's not something, it's not the dominant lesbian go-to sex?
Oh, no.
No, not at all.
I can count how many times I've done it on, one hand.
On 4 fingers?
And I do it. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, how did you guys all come out?
Okay, so I came out in high school as bisexual because I thought I still liked guys. So the first time when I came out to my mom saying that I liked girls, we were watching an Angelina Jolie movie. And,
oh yeah.
Yeah. And we started talking about how she says she's bisexual. So I said to my mom, I turned to her and I'm like, well, what if I like girls? And her response, I was really scared and I started crying. And she turned to me, she's like, that's okay. You are allowed to like whoever you want. As long as you're happy, that's fine. And then I came out last January as being gay. And I was in an argument with her about a guy friend of mine who liked me. And he's a close family friend. So when I came out, we were arguing. And then I just yelled at her. I kind of blurted it, being like, well, I think I'm gay, so this should not even matter. She went from being angry with me to being so excited. She went oh my god, I knew it!
That's
the most unexpected reaction possible. She says, I've been waiting to hear this since you were 3 years old. I'm so happy.
She's not Republican.
So democratic.
I'm so glad that you were accepted so well. You're off. What about you?
My story's kind of all over the place. Growing up, I always think, I think I'm different, but I never really understood it. So it's maybe I'm bi-curious, and I had a boyfriend at the time, and I kept telling him, I'm like, I like girls. Every time I'm with you, I think about girls. So
you probably love
that. I'm actually so excited. So I didn't really understand, so I was like, hey, maybe I'm bisexual. So I came here, and I tell people, but I only told a couple of people, and then it wasn't until 2nd semester of 2nd year I met my first girlfriend, and she introduced me to the word pansexual. So I was like, okay, maybe this
What
will.
does pansexual mean? Because I don't know, and I Hands up.
My definition is basically you like the person, regardless of their gender, their sex, anything, just the person.
Okay.
So I figured maybe that is me, but I still was like more leaning towards females, I thought. Like, I don't know, it was just kind of confusing for me. And then, so I called myself Pan, but then as I was talking to my cousin, and she's like, I think you're a lesbian. I'm like, I don't know if I am or not. And like I talked to, like, I met like other lesbians, or like, I think you might be gay. And then I met my second girlfriend, and she's like, you're a raging homo. So I'm like, okay. And like, I think it was like closer to the end of the summer, I'm like, I started to like accept that, and I started to come out about a year ago as like bisexual, but I was like, that still didn't suit me. Like, I tried to explain pansexual, and people didn't understand it. My aunt was like, so you like men who wear dresses? I'm like, no, that is not
I've
it.
seen men in dresses, and it's not that pretty.
No. So, I don't know.
I'm sorry. You are. Back to your story.
So, I don't know, I told my mom, like, through text message, and she called me, like, 5 seconds after. She's like, so you could have told me to sit down first. Like, sorry. Like, I just wanted to blurt it out. So she knows, and she was cool with it. Like, now she knows I swing, like, one direction. And my dad doesn't know, and, like, a lot of my family doesn't know. So I'm kind of out, kind of not. Like, lots of friends and some family know, but still kind of.
Oh my God, so no one in your family really knows, but here you are, like...
Well, at least 400 people are going to know now, so... Way to come out.
Yeah. Alright, Valerie, tell us your story.
I also came out in high school. I came out in grade 11. I was trying to do the whole, I'm so heterosexual thing. It didn't work at all. It was kind of like a train wreck. Anyways, I came out. My parents didn't really take it the best way. I don't know why I like prolonged that word. But yes, my parents didn't really take it the best way. We didn't have much of a relationship for a few months. But now we're really good. Like, it just took like about 6 months, and then we started like just getting over all of it, and now we're talking really well, and now my mom probably knows way too much about my sex life, just like all my friends.
Yeah, I heard she had a really great encounter with your girlfriend.
Yeah, well, she straight up, like, she was first time meeting my girlfriend, who may be on this panel, and the first thing she asks is, so how's the strap on? It's really good.
I'm going to ask that later, so save that.
Needless to say, it was just very awkward. But I was honest, and I said, you know, it happens. So, yeah, so now we're out, and we're good, and my family's good, and we're way too open with each other.
How did you tell your family?
I pretty much just sat my mom down, and I was like, Mom, I'm gay. And then she broke down, left the room, and I was just sitting there, and I'm like, well, at least she knows. And then we didn't really, like, we kind of talked more about it, and she's like, well, you dated guys, and I'm like, I tried the heterosexual thing, Mom. I tried to be straight for you. It didn't happen.
So Valerie's girlfriend, how did you come out?
That's my label. I don't think you know. I'm the sub. No. Mine wasn't more of like a wanting to come out thing. It was more like my mom's like, I know.
I got a witness.
I hope she didn't witness anything. Anyways, we were actually in the car driving to work. We work at the same place. I won't name it because I don't want to get fired. But we were driving to work, and she was just we weren't really talking. Listening to the radio, fucking like Kesha or something. And she's just like, she turns to me and she's like, are you gay? What? Oh God. And I was just like, and then in that moment, she just started fucking bawling. She was just like, I knew since you were 12. Oh God. She also pulled the, but you dated boys. What happened to Andy? Andy was the shit. Sorry, Andy. She started crying, and it was like kind of sad, so then I started crying. I've been a lot more emotional since I've come out. But yeah, so she confronted me on it because I had been going out, and I guess she had heard rumors through the...
She was never home.
I was never home. I was having a lot of fun. With women. And so she just asked me about it, and she told me that I didn't really give her a yes or no answer, but she had already known, so it was like, why do I really need to say it? Because I still had issues with it. But she was like, your father and I, we love you no matter what. And she was very supportive about it, although she was crying, but that's okay. She told me she loved me no matter what and everything, so from there, I kind of was more open about it and everything, and let her know what was going on, that I was going to Lavish and that I was going to have fun. Yeah, so it was a long time coming before that moment where she was just kind of waiting for me to say that I was, but I wasn't about to say it because I was too scared and I was too in denial of myself, I guess. But I'm glad that she went for it and asked me, because I think it would have been a lot longer than that if she had it for me anyway. So somebody asking you is better than you think it would be. So that's how I came out anyway. And my father had already known because he's seen Valerie and I making it in front of the hall. So my dad had already seen it coming for a long time. My brother had already seen it coming. They all did. They were just waiting, being polite, but I wasn't very good at it, so.
You're good at it now. So
they came out for me. I'm still closeted to my Portuguese grandmother, because she's super Catholic. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I feel like this is a hard question to answer because like coming out is such a process. Like I don't feel like many people come out straight, but routinely you have to kind of like reaffirm your identity with new people that you meet, and sometimes it'll be like months or years later that they're like, wait a second, and you're like, okay, get on the train or get off the tracks. Like pick up on the cues here. But for me, I came from a family that was I thought my parents were more closed-minded than I think they actually are, and so I didn't give them enough credit, I don't think. Also, they knew, like, age 4, I put on that softball jersey, and they were like, yep, nailed it. Like, they saw it coming, and I think they've been trying to, like, get it out of me for years. Like, my cousins, like, one year just started asking me, like, so, like, haven't had any boyfriends? And I was like, no, not at all. Like, my doctor dropped it in there. Like, did you know that, like, athletes on all-female teams usually have like a higher percentage? And I was like, where is this random stuff? Yeah, like my parents I think had been like planting like opportunities for me that I just was like totally missing for years. And so I thought they were going to kick me out of the house. I waited until I came to university to tell them. But when I was in my grade 12 year of high school, I met my first girlfriend, and we started dating kind of in secret because one of our mutual friends was like kind of madly in love with her, and it was really awkward. And like in hindsight, we were trying to like protect him. It didn't go over so yeah. I went to a leadership conference where I facilitated like a sharing exercise, and for the first time ever, kind of like actually came out to some people. And someone from my group, because it was supposed to be a safe space where everything like stayed in the room, actually went back to his cabin and told people from my high school, and people started putting 2 and 2 together about me and my girlfriend, and I got outed so fast. And the thing is that I had no concept of like the breadth of this rumor, like to the point that when my girlfriend went to Queens when we were in first year, a few months later, because this happened in about like April or May of our graduating year, she got outed on her floor when we were in first year because somebody from a neighboring high school had heard the rumor and outed her when I came up to visit her one weekend. So like I came out, and then I was so far back in the closet I was in Narnia. I was like, heck no, we're never doing this again. Like this is horrifying because, and like again, I didn't know the breadth of this rumor until like years later. I found out that like family friends found out, like basically my parents found out with like pretty like concrete evidence from like other parents at my mutual friends of mine at my high school, which I think was really hard for them that they. And again, like I didn't give them enough credit to know that they were accepting and they would love me no matter what. But there's that fear that like your parents won't take it well, that they'll kick you out of the house, like if you come from a religious background. That's always at the back of your mind, and it's better to prepare for the worst and I think hope for the best than to put yourself in a compromising situation. So it was the end of September of my first year of university. It was my first weekend back home, and it was my mom's birthday.
Happy birthday!
So I wrote her a letter, basically, and like they knew, my girlfriend and I, they knew we were together. And it was basically like, happy birthday, Mom, I'm gay! You've been waiting! This is my gift to you this year. And like to this day, she says it's probably the best birthday gift I've ever given her, is to finally like be honest with her about stuff. But I still am not out to my extended family, maybe because I just can't, no one lives close, so it's like, it's not one of those things you can like purposely call up like your aunt and be like, just wanted to drop a line to you and let you know that I like girls. And like, I don't know that it's necessary, like I would hope that anybody I bring home that they would accept and love no matter what, so, and I'm kind of giving them that credit, so I just haven't had a good venue to come out to my extended family, but yeah, at the end of the summer of my first year, I cut my hair and all bets were off. And now it's, I guess the process of it is to like, I crack jokes about it, because I feel like I'm funny, I might be one of those people. Somebody tell me, but yeah, so I just, I hate to break it to you, but you're not my type, like Amanda Bynes style, so I'm totally open and comfortable about it now, and it's like taken me a while to come to terms with what happened when I was in high school, and I think it was a really big learning experience for me, and it taught me a lot about trust and putting yourself out there, and that just because you get burned once doesn't mean that everybody's going to treat you badly, so yeah, it's a process, and I learned a lot from it.
The whole thing about coming out to your extended family, like every time you date a new guy or you start like for like a straight girl, you're hooking up with a guy. It's not like I call my aunt and be like, hey, guess what I'm doing? So it's just like it's a normal process. It's why you have to make an effort to like actually sit down and be like, listen, this is what it is, and what that does is it just kind of turns it around and makes something that's not normal, but it is normal, so it's not that big of a deal. And your hair is great. If I could pull off the short hair, oh god, I would. This curly hair takes forever.
I appreciate it.
Oh, it takes forever to dry. Before we go on to the next question, does anyone in the audience have any questions? Lovely, gorgeous Karen is walking around looking for anything. No? Awesome. Okay. So our next question. So when you guys are sexually active with your partners or your girlfriends, do dildos come into play? And how do you feel about them? Because like in my head it's kind of like you're with a guy, but not because it's pleasurable. So can someone explain that to me? I don't know. We'll start off with
I've only recently had experience with a dildo, and I remember that the girl that I was hooking up with, like, she asked me about it while we were in the middle of stuff, and to me, I don't think it's that big of a deal because it's not an actual penis. It's completely different, and you're
not a raging boner.
And it's still a girl that's having sex with you. So when she asked me about it, she's like, are you going to be comfortable with it? Like, are you okay with that? I'm like, yeah, I don't care because I'm still having sex with a girl, and this is totally fine with me. And I mean, the feeling of it is like, obviously, like, it kind of feels like straight sex a little bit, but to be honest, like, I can't tell that much of a difference. Like, it doesn't matter to me, kind of thing.
So you're not picturing like a guy on top of you.
Not
you see,
even.
Like a girl.
Not even.
Okay.
There is a complete difference between the two. Like, no. There's a complete difference, and like I like to joke around and be like, it's not shaped like a penis. It's shaped like the inside of my vagina. Just like to joke around about it. Just because like people always make a joke like, well, it's like being with a guy. Like, well, no, it's not. But like they used to terrify me. Like
maybe that's too big.
I was kind of intrigued, but I was like, I don't really know how I feel about this. But like my current partner, she kind of made me be like, it's okay. So they're not terrifying now.
You said you had a boyfriend before. Were you sexually active with him?
Yes.
Okay. So when you
they're not alike. It's nothing like the other. Yeah.
It's really nothing like.
One lasts a lot longer.
What's your take, Mallory?
Well, I've also been like sexually active with men, and it's true. It's completely different. I didn't like it then, and at first I actually never really liked it. If my partner wanted it, I'd do it for them, but like I never really wanted to receive it in turn. Until I met Warren, that kind of changed.
I got a good hip thrust.
I just throw in there the Warren turning my shoe up.
Yeah, now I kind of like, I tell her, I'm like, so we're going home and you're kind of fucking me later, right? And she's like, well, yeah. I'm like, I didn't mean with your fingers. So, now I like it, but I did it before, but like, it's nothing like with a boy at all. It's very different, especially if the person's like communicating with you or if you have like tits flapping around your mouth. You're like, oh, it's not rare.
What, lesbian? Not that big! Jesus!
No, but it's very different, and you might not enjoy it until you meet the right person.
Oh, interesting. Well, if anyone didn't know, I've known Warren for most of my life, so this is great information that I'm learning about her. So that's like...
She was actually like the first person I ever came out to, so... There you go, connection.
Okay, so we're going to skip you, and we'll come back to you, since your girlfriend pretty much gave us a lot of...
Yeah, very different.
I know, we'll get to you, don't worry. But what is, or you like your experience?
Yeah, like I've never gone there, and I have a tendency to hook up with people who identify as straight before they meet me. So that might be why. Yep.
That's like a stupid one, right?
Good for you. I don't know. Yeah, it's a bad habit. Don't try it. Yeah, I've never really gone. I guess I'm not really opposed to the idea. I've just never really, I guess, like had the opportunity. I met a guy in high school, and like you could name an inanimate object, he had used it for sex, and he kind of like, I don't know, for whatever reason, I was like, I guess if you can use a curling iron, off. But like, the amount of things he had used as like a prop, I was like, I guess this is a thing that like I don't really.
No curve to
I don't
even understand.
I don't know. He literally, we just like maybe he was lying, but like a bunch of us just threw a bunch of, not physically threw, but like named a bunch of inanimate objects, and he's like, done it, been there, like 8 times, and we were like. So like, I don't know, that was at like the age of like 16 that I was hearing this, and I guess it just kind of like gave me scarred me initially, but like now has like totally taken away like any kind of like weirdness that I have with using a prop, I guess, although I've never really done it. It doesn't seem weird to me. Maybe he damaged me, I don't know.
Or enhanced your experience, I don't know. Okay, Warren, what is your experience?
I'm actually, contrary to popular belief with my long hair, I'm a gold star. I have not gone there. With a real one or a fake one. So I don't know, I'm not exactly opposed to it or anything like that. Like obviously I use one on her, not on myself. Jayla.
Gross.
Tamara. Earmuffs. No, I'm a virgin. Till marriage.
Okay, so getting Dildos out of the way, then what is lesbian sex like?
Lesbian sex for me is, I love the oral. I love it so much, oh my god. Goodness.
I won her over with my tongue.
Oh, great! Okay, so
I think I would say really passionate. Because I've had sex with a guy before, and like it's not, I don't know, it's not the same thing. So like the first time I had sex with a girl, I just remember thinking like, wow, this is really emotional, this feels really passionate. Like I love that feeling of it.
Does it always have to be passionate and emotional, or can it just be like dirty?
No, not at all. Just dirty, like come on.
We're women, but we still want sex.
I have 2 words. I feel like it's more intimate, and it's just awesome. That's it, just awesome.
It's foreplay on steroids.
Yeah.
Like it is the most foreplay you could imagine, and it lasts a lot longer than I thought.
No refractory period.
Yes, there's
So
no
you
like
go.
replenishment. Like
Courtney, you can't even say that. You'd like get exhausted and then stop. You're like, just give me a minute. It's true.
Compliment!
It's so lovely having a couple on the panel. They know everything.
We're gonna have a domestic
let's move on.
Oh, awesome.
We got a Twitter question over here. It is, would you ever consider being with a bisexual woman?
I've been there. I'm not going to stereotype. I'm not going to judge. Like, my experience is bad, but I'm not going to say because mine was bad, they're all bad, because that's not true. Like, there are good, faithful people out there. But I guess, like, it's not different. It's like the person is the person, and like, I don't think whether they're lesbian or they're bisexual, it's the person. So if it goes bad, it's because of the person, not because of their sexuality. If that makes sense.
I would probably get like super jealous. I've never been with a bisexual, but like I would probably get very jealous or like irrational. Like, are you looking at his ass or mine? I don't know. I don't know.
Well, would it be dating a bisexual or just?
Well, if I was just gonna bang her, then like.
I definitely think
This is a while ago, not now.
I don't know if I could be in a relationship with a bisexual woman. I definitely want to like have sex with her, but I don't know if I could be in a relationship. I think it depended on who she was and like her personality and stuff like that. Like if I met her and like got to know her and then found out maybe that later, I think I could handle it. But I don't exactly know because I like Warren was saying, like I'd be worried about like what if like is she checking out that guy over there? Like she's still with me? Like I just don't know if I'd be able to do that exactly.
Yeah, like nothing against bisexuals or anything like that.
No,
that's
not at
insecurity.
all.
That's not an insecurity.
Okay, I'm gonna go the exact opposite direction with this. I personally, like, I don't think it really matters. Like, they're checking out someone else, you have a bigger problem on your hands. Like, you have to worry about that. Like, whether it's a guy or a girl they're checking out, like, you need to.
Nope.
Yeah, I know. Like, I just, and like, maybe I think I'm coming from the perspective where I don't know if I've ever dated anyone who was or actually identifies as like only being attracted to women. So maybe I'm coming from a different perspective. But yeah, I don't think it really makes that much of a difference. Although, like, I must say, like, my first girlfriend, we were together for about 2 years, and we took a break because long distance wasn't really working for us. And like, I don't know if it's like if it would be qualified as like cheating, but hooked up with a guy who had been like a longtime friend of mine, like a childhood friend of mine. And I found out about it a while after it happened. And it was basically the thing that sealed the deal for us. So, like, in terms of, like, I got the heck out of there. And I must say, if it had been another girl, it might not have been that bad. But the fact that it was a guy, I think just, it cut a little bit deeper. Because it was like, oh, man, like your sexuality was something we'd always talked about. And it was like, you know, what was the last 2 years? So, but I must say that, like, I'm not opposed to, like, if you're attracted to me, then that's good enough for me. And that's kind of where I move on from.
I kind of have to go with Kelly. Like, I have kind of like a similar situation, I guess, like where like I dated this girl and then we kind of broke up, I guess, and then she slept with 2 guys, and so slut. No, it's not. That's me.
No, like Ross Geller, like we were on a break, and you're like, oh.
Hey, girl. Yeah, I don't know. So for me, that experience wasn't pleasurable.
Put me away.
For me, it wasn't pleasurable. But kind of the same idea like with Warren, like until we started dating, like I would still have sex with one. But that's about it.
Do you guys believe in the concept of being, no, I shouldn't say concept, but like, is bisexual a thing? Like, can you equally be attracted to males and females, or?
100%.
I totally believe
Yeah.
that.
Sexuality, especially for women, well, men too for that matter, is a spectrum.
Okay.
It's not like,
For
I'm
you-
this, I'm that. You're like, you can be highly attracted to men and still be like, oh, I'd fuck that girl. Like, you totally could. Sexuality is in a spectrum, and there's people all over it. And you
Like,
can't.
I'm in love with Kenzie, and if that girl told me to be with her, I'd be like, yes, but I am not like associated with being bisexual, or like I'm pretty sure I'm straight. So how does that really work out for people?
You'd have to ask a bisexual that question. I feel like most of these women identify as lesbians.
On the lesbian panel.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you guys consider cheating then? Like, what are
In my
how
opinion,
far
it's
does
I'm a
it go?
crazy
crazy
another
ass
person.
woman.
Like
Everything. not that. Maybe totally kidding. She flips the fucking bartenders that spoke. Jesus, they get some free shots, but
maybe this is just me, but like, I still consider like someone like emotional cheating like a thing. So if like a girl that I've seen was messaging someone else and like I was in a relationship with her and like saying that she wanted to be with her and stuff like that, like I would still consider that as cheating. I mean, just like obviously physical things like kissing another girl or like having sex with another girl, obviously I would still consider that cheating. So the emotional thing, I mean, some people don't see it as cheating, but for myself personally, I definitely see it as one.
I would agree with that, yeah. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, for me it's like if you wouldn't be comfortable with me like witnessing this happening, well, maybe you're weird like that, but like if you don't think that I would be okay with it, or like if you don't think that I would be like, yeah, that's totally cool, like hold his hand, pinch his butt, make out with her, oh no, stop it. Like for me it's like that's kind of a deal breaker.
If you're hiding it, obviously it means that you know. Yeah, it obviously means you know you're in the wrong and you feel guilty about it regardless.
Okay, so someone explain to me the difference between a lipstick lesbian, a dyke, a butch, like what are all these different terminology, like different labels, and how does that work?
I hate these labels. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I think that it sets up these binary constructs that are like very sociologically driven, and I think that it puts people in boxes, and I think it's stigmatizing. I think it's very much like asking someone like who wears the pants in your relationship. Hey, yeah, back there. I think people can be equals in a relationship, and I don't think we need to set up these binary constructs or these power relationships or these hierarchical standards. And I don't think you can classify people. I'm not into like fitting people into these little boxes and trying to classify them. So I don't agree with these labels, and I think that they reduce what is a very complex culture to something that is easily digested, and I think it's irresponsible. So I don't buy into the labels.
well, I'm sorry, I forgot to put on my lipstick before I started.
I'm wearing mine today.
I actually really am though. I was preparing to do that and I don't know what happened.
I feel like there's like, it's more complicated than just saying like butch or lipstick lesbian, because like, are you judging based on the person or are you judging based on what they look like? Because I may look really femme, but I'd be the man. Or like, whereas my girlfriend, she'd look more like, I don't think she looks masculine, but to some people I guess she would be, but she's very femme, I guess you could say. I don't know, like, but it goes both ways, because like I could have my femme days, or she could have like her butch days, whatever. Like, so I feel like you can't really place people in these boxes, because it's like, what are you judging based on? Like, on the person and how they are interacting, or are you judging based on what they look like? So like, and I feel like there's more to people than like labeling them.
I think it's sad because like the thing with the stereotypes is most of the time, honestly, they are based on like what you look like. So I mean, like I get stereotyped a lot from people that as soon as I tell them I'm gay, they're like, really? Like I thought you were straight. And the thing is that it's sad because we shouldn't be labeling based on how someone looks. We should, like, I don't even think like these labels are stupid. Honestly, like I just don't think they're necessary. And like obviously it's kind of a thing with society that where you feel like you have to organize people into these things because it helps you identify them better. But I just don't see it as necessary. And the thing is that especially with lesbians, like obviously lipstick femme, like you're saying you're more girly. If you're saying that you're butch, like you're saying that you're more masculine. But honestly, based on looks, that's not always the case on who the person is either.
Oh, sorry. What I was going to say is that I would agree as well that it's not. I feel like the whole spectrum of like lipstick lesbian to butchy, or the horrible word of dyke, is on a basis of like who's most attractive to who is masculine and like butchy. Whereas it's like when people talk to me, they're like, assume I'm straight. Because I'm so fucking good looking.
Being good looking doesn't necessarily mean that
exactly.
you are
straight. And then from there, it's just like, oh, I'll be like, no. And I'm like, okay, so you're bisexual. Because bisexuals are hotter. I'm like, no, I am a lesbian. I eat pussy. All the time. Sorry about it. Sorry.
I knew this girl like before we plugged our eyebrows. It was like the weirdest. So weird. It's great. I'm opening up to all these things about her. It's great. Keep going. Keep going. I'm just joking.
All right. So we got a question from the audience. What type of girls are you into?
I've been finding that it's kind of a mixture. Like I've kind of like been with girls that are more like feminine looking, but I've been finding lately I've definitely been into more like girls that are more masculine looking, I guess you could say, and shorter than me. That also. Don't know why, but
yeah, I have this problem if you're like blonde haired, blue. I used to argue that I didn't have a type, but now it's like finally you're blonde haired, you're blue eyed, you're below 5'5", 5'6". Boys are your thing, and you're recently broken up. The 5 Bs. You have a nice butt, nice boobs. It helps.
Yeah, like you didn't
I
have
will
a type
find
before.
you. And like over and over again, I was like, no, it's not a thing. And then finally, they sat me down and they were like, Kelly, you need to own it. You chase blonde straight girls who are shorter than you. So, some of my first year students live on my floor in the audience, and I think one of them might fit that description. I'm not. Just realizing what I did.
Ethics or guidelines?
Okay, so we're gonna get
There's
types.
a lot of types, I think.
I was gonna go for a different type, but okay, keep going with your types.
You're a man type.
No.
Talk about that.
Go ahead.
Well,
I have the two of you.
I know,
Types, so
Looks so similar.
that's what my mom was like. You guys
That's
look like
horrible.
sisters.
they're just really into each other. They think they're both really hot. So that's why they go for each other.
Yeah, kind of is. No, okay, but typically I think we could probably say we're both into brunettes.
I love dark haired girls. Oh my god.
We both,
Except for Miley Cyrus, exception.
she used to have long hair, so I guess.
Yeah, but I only found her attractive after she cut it all off. She's dirty like Kesha now.
Anyways, apart from liking my girlfriend, brown hair. Oh, no offense. Brown hair. My height a little shorter, I guess. I like to manhandle, so I guess that helps.
Manhandle, you mean woman handle.
Yeah! I apologize for that. Woman handle. I like to fondle her breasts and like throw her. Like,
She did Forever 21 like 3 hours ago. I was like, can you calm down?
I just like look like a hard nipple.
Oscars.
There's a lot that I haven't gotten to accept hanging out with these two. PDA, they love each other.
There's a
so
little
much.
bit of excessive public indecency.
This is gonna sound really cheesy, but I'd say like, okay, my type is my girlfriend.
We get an audience wide. Aww.
No, seriously, she has like brown hair. I love brown hair. She's shorter than me. Like I'm fine with like around my height, because I'm fairly short. She's really fit, has like tattoos and piercings.
No labeling for you.
She's really hot. That's all I have to say. Like, if I had to like have like a generator of like what my girl would look like, it would pop up just like her. So I don't know. It's
We all had
So
generators.
you guys must have like really great sex if you find her that like attractive. You must be like so into it.
yes.
Yes. I'll be timid. Okay, well, what about characteristics down south? Do you guys prefer it to be nicely shaven or?
I don't want it to look like a rainforest.
I like stubble on a
I don't want to have to like to find it. Like I like it just nice.
You don't want to flash your teeth?
No, I don't have to like. No, like that's just. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want it to be super hairy down there, but I don't care if there is some down there because it's kind of a natural thing. Like, obviously, if it's down there, it's there for a reason. So, like, if a girl shaves it, fine. If she has some, fine. But if it's like a bush down there, like a huge one, I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say, like, do what you're comfortable with, what you feel most confident in. But I certainly don't mind hair being down there at all. Like, dating me is saving a lot of time, effort, and ingrown hairs. So it's like, do what you want to do, but like, I don't want to play Where's Waldo with your clit. Where the rosy Carmen said
I'm pretty much very similar. I'm like, do whatever the person's most comfortable with. I'm actually more hygiene based. If you haven't showered in 3 days, I'm not going to go down on you. Like, it's just not going to happen. So, like, down there, whatever, what you're comfortable with, what you like, but shower.
Yes, hygiene is key.
Yeah, I think there's just a certain level of hygiene that's required. I think you guys covered all the bases.
Okay, so when you guys are seeing different girls and you're getting together with your girlfriends, do you compare different vaginas, like girls do with penises? Like how does that work?
I have never done that. Why? Who wrote that question? I mean, I can understand girls comparing penises, but I can't understand girls comparing vaginas to each other. Like, oh, like this girl like went down and was like this looking way. Like, no. Yeah.
Shit, massive labia.
No. Shit. Oh my god.
Just how would the logistics of that even work? Like 10 years or like
well, I don't know. Aren't you looking at what you're feasting on? Idea of what I'm looking at.
Yeah, we're more focused on other things than looking.
Well, I don't know. I guess I would like register that it looked like different than mine. I don't know.
It's not so different because like we have our own. So like it's like I don't know. Whereas you're like, oh, a penis. Well, it was different from the other guy's penis I just saw. But I feel like I have a vagina and she has it
on a regular basis.
I think a more like valid topic to cover would be like dating another girl, or being involved in another girl. Do you ever compare like other body parts, like the rest of
like nipples?
Yeah. Yes. No, but I think there's
compare your nipples.
I think when you're dating someone of the same sex, though, it's like a lot easier to compare yourself. I know that like lots of people in relationships will share clothes, same sex and like different sex relationships, but like I think it's also like a lot more common for I think two girls to compare themselves to their partner. So
I
yeah.
don't think I have no.
Well, I wear Courtney's clothes at least once a week.
I'm jealous of her abs.
And I know you talk about her butt all the time.
I made her stand up in the smoke earlier today and like turn around so she could show her butt to the world because that's very lovely.
I have a white girl ass. It's like small.
Okay, so when you two go on a date, who pays? What is that role? How does that work go?
It changes.
If it's really expensive, she takes it.
No, we're actually really good with it. We're both financially aware, I guess is the way to say it. So like I'll pay one time, she'll pay the next time. Like today when we go to the spoke later, she'll probably pay for drinks and I'll pay for the wage.
Because we didn't pay for drinks before.
And then like I'll pay for dinner. It just really changes. Like balance it, I guess. I don't know. For us, like I don't really care. Like I'll pay, but I don't want to pay all the time. And I think she thinks the same thing.
I think for me, it's more like who asked who out, then that person pays, or like me and my girlfriends, like I'll try to pay and she'll fight me on it. So like I have to be sneaky about it and just like pay when she's not looking, and then she gives me shit after. Like, well, I was gonna pay. Like, pay next time. Like sometimes we'll be like, okay, we'll
You let her pay next time.
Sometimes, like we try to take turns, but.
Honestly, I think it depends for me on like who asked. Like it's kind of the same thing. Like, I agree with Jessica here. Like I think it depends on who asked who out. And then being in a relationship, like obviously, like I think whoever I was dating, I'd probably fight them and be like, no, let me pay. Like I don't want to make you pay, kind of thing. But again, it could alternate too. So I just think it depends on who asked who out, kind of thing beforehand.
yeah, I'm usually about equality, and I usually fight to pay though. Usually. We'll see, but yeah, I think there's certainly a back and forth, like what I was mentioning earlier about equality in relationships and not thinking in terms of like who wears the pants and things like that. I think there's certainly an equality that comes with being in a relationship.
I think it's kind of like, oh, I like to take care of the person I love, or like I'm with, which is a big part of it as well.
I don't really enjoy like bickering about paying. If you're like, sure, it's very nice if I'm like, oh, I'm gonna pay, and she's like, oh, don't do that. I'm gonna do it, and that's it. If you're gonna fight me on it, it's like, Jesus, like, just be gracious. Let me do it.
Okay, well, we have a question from the audience.
We do. Intersectionalities and interlocking systems of oppression, oh my. Any politically queer or women's studies students? Thank you. So since biphobia can't exist without homophobia and, you know, racism can't exist without classism, this whole idea of interlocking systems of oppressions, I wanted to address some biphobia that might have come up earlier. What are we doing about biphobia and some of the slut-shaming that's associated with that in the lesbian community here?
I would say that there is a lot of discrimination against bisexual women because it's like, I know from not my own experience, but because I haven't not hooked up with a bi woman, at least that's what she's told me. But there's a lot of if you find out she's hooked up with a man, then she's like, oh, she's not in the lesbian community. Shame her and like push her out, kind of thing. If she's hooked up with a man, but for me, I don't really do what you want to do. Like, I don't really care. I can't really say that like I'm going to shame you if I want to be accepted for being a lesbian.
I don't think we're doing enough. I think that as much as like, and you're right, like all of these systems of oppression overlap and are related. I think that's why you see so much overlap into the civil rights movement and the gay rights movement. And I think that as a community, you know, if people want to claim that they're colorblind and people want to claim that, you know, they can be blind to gender, I think like as a group, I think we need to take a stand on I think we were talking about earlier, like taking care of our own. And if it doesn't matter that you're in a same-sex relationship, then I think sexual fluidity should be embraced. And if we're going to all talk about a continuum and a spectrum, then I think we need to take a more proactive approach to the way that bisexual and biphobia is being handled within the LGBT community. So I understand, like, I completely understand what you're getting at, and I'm not sure what we can do, but I think not enough is a good way to put where we're at currently.
Yeah, so like related to what I said earlier though, with being a sense of jealousy with somebody who would be bisexual if I was dating them, that's my own insecurity. That's by no means something that I would blanket onto other people. That's my own insecurity, and I will own that.
Yeah, I think in our community, at least, like, lesbians, for the most part, like, if you go out with them, we are very cliquey, but I don't know if that's just because of the way women are, but it's definitely very prominent, it's definitely very there. And I don't want to say that we don't do it, but there's definitely biphobia in the group, because people start feeling like, well, we fully came out, why can't them? Why can't they? Kind of thing. And it does come out, people think that, and I definitely think that it's wrong. And then, like Kelly said, a lot more needs to be done, but it's definitely very, very prominent, and it's unfortunate because we all have to go through a process to come out, and so do bisexuals to their own degree, right? So I don't think we should be oppressing them at all, but it definitely happens.
I think it's hard because the thing with bisexuality is that some people don't really understand it. Like, they don't understand there's different stages. I mean, like, for some people that like later come out as gay, like they might say first that they are bisexual. And I think it's interesting to see like how people maybe say like someone who says they're bisexual and they end up being in a relationship with a same-sex person, and people assume right away that these are gay. And the thing is that means they are still bisexual. It just they are with someone in like the same sex as them. And I think the problem is that it's not like we are learning more about people who are gay or lesbian, but I think the information about being bisexual and other parts of the like LGBTQ spectrum have not like there's not as much information. And I think it's really about trying to promote these other aspects of the LGBTQ community and trying to let people know that these are what bisexuality is, trans, anything like that. And it's really about educating people about it. So I mean, that's why we have things like PrideWestern and other things to try and let people understand what all these other spectrums are.
Okay, well, when we're talking about community, just to kind of round it around, what is the gay party scene like? Like, the first time that Courtney took me to Lavish, I was a little overwhelmed, I'm not gonna lie. So would you say that when you are in groups of people, is it, like Valerie was saying, it's a little cliquey? Like, how does it go? How do you...
Gay people just love to dance and love and dance again. In the words of Jennifer Davis.
I think when I only just came out like last January, and I remember that when I came out, honestly, I didn't really know anyone in the community, and being a Brescia student, I mean, there are girls that are lesbians, but I felt very isolated, and once I joined PrideWestern this year is when I started meeting people, and when I started going to Lavish more, and it's cliquey in the sense, I guess, like there are groups of girls who are very, like, lesbian girls that are very much friends, but like, you also become friends with other people that are gay and trans and bi and stuff like that. And the community itself can be cliquey, but I think it is because, honestly, that there's only such an amount of us that are in the community that we feel like we have to kind of stick together and like be friends. And I mean, not everyone gets along in the community, or like the people that have hooked up with one another and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a web, holy shit. But I think it's one of those things that like once you get into it and stuff and like you meet more people, like it's not just those people in the community, you meet other people extending from it as well.
I think the lesbian, well, not even the lesbian, just the gay bar scene, the LGBTQ bar scene in general, let's just say, by every means is a great way to meet people. I mean, that's how I met Warren. We met each other at Lavish, actually.
Found love in a hopeless place.
And it actually worked, but that's not to say that that scene, like Lavish or any club for that matter, is a place for everybody, right? Some people just don't like it, and there's definitely other ways to meet people, like joining organizations like Get Real or PrideWestern, like you said, or even Ally Western. There's just a lot of different ways in which you can meet people from your own community without having to go out, because I do understand that there's a lot of people who just are not into it. They don't want to just go and party, they just want to be able to have an actual good intellectual conversation with somebody. So it's different for some people. Like, I love going and I love dancing and loving and dancing again, but like, I get that it's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody. Definitely, the first time I went, I had an amazing experience, a very positive experience. Bye, Heather. The first time I went by myself, actually, and I hadn't even really come out publicly yet. I came out myself like 3 years earlier, so I knew I was like the vagina. But I went in, as soon as I walked in, I walked up to the patio, because Lavish has this lovely patio in the summer months, and I walked up, and whoever knows Cora Wessels, she is a freaking amazing person, because she came up to me and she was just like, "Who are you?" She's such a sweetheart. Such a sweetheart. And I was like, "Well, my name's Warren, and I don't really know anyone here." I think I lied, actually. So I was like, "Oh, my friends are downstairs." I was by myself. It's so lonely. And she's just like, "Well, I know every lesbian." And I was like, "Okay." She's like, "So you're bi?" And I was like, "No." And then "Oh, you're a lesbian." And I was just like, "Yes, I am." And she's like, "I am introducing you to every girl I know." And I was like, "All right." And then from there, it was like, within, honest to God, from when I walked into the door, from my first introduction to somebody else, it was like 30 seconds. And immediately I met a few people, and they are my friends today, like very close friends of mine today. So I have Cora Wessel to thank for a lot of my good gay community experience at Lavish and in gay bars.
How did you even like come up with that confidence to just walk into a bar alone? Because like there are a lot of people in your position where they want to experience these types of things, but they don't have anybody else to go with them or like, share that with them. So how did you just walk in by yourself?
I had been contemplating. I knew that Lavish was a gay bar in London, and I'm from London, and I had been contemplating going for probably around 4 or 5 months prior to actually going. And what had happened was, every weekend I was just like, okay, Saturday's probably a good night, but I'd never been before. And I just thought, as I was going home from Barney's, so I was a little bit intoxicated, I was going by that area to get to my car, which I shouldn't have been driving. But I just stopped and I was like, you know what? Like, what the fuck? Like, why not? Why not? What's gonna happen? I don't know anyone here. Well, I didn't know anyone when I went the first time. So I didn't know anyone, and what did I have to lose, really? And I guess that's where my confidence had come from. And I just went in, didn't know anyone. I was like, okay, well, like, my thought process was like, if I go to the bar, like, I'm just going to get a drink so no one will know that I'm by myself. It's so lonely. So I just like I went into the bar inside, got a drink, and then realized that everybody was like going upstairs because this was during the summer. I'd only come out during the summer of this year, well, 2012. And I went upstairs and that's where I met Cora. And honestly, if it hadn't been for her, I owe her a lot of credit, and I've told her that. But if it wasn't for her, I probably would have left within like 10 minutes because I didn't know anyone. And she just introduced me to a lot of people, and they were so friendly and so amazing, and I have so many people thank for that, but I had such a positive experience, and I loved it, so go for it. If you want somebody to go with, I'll go with you.
Can I try to touch up on that before we get to a Twitter question?
Yeah, I just, in this, I think the LGBT community is safe. I think that, and maybe that contradicts what we were talking about earlier when we talked about some of the slut-shaming and the biphobia, but I think that for the most part, it's a generalization, but it's safe. And that's what I found. But in the same way that the labels and segregation, I'm very much about equality, and so I don't really consider, I guess they are separate communities, but I never have considered myself, one day to be part of, like, the global community and then the next part of the LGBT community, but people who I've met who identify as, being within that fabric have only ever been wonderful people. And totally accepting and embracing. And I think the great thing is that for the most part, this community identifies the difference between tolerating, accepting, and embracing. And I think recognizing that those are all different things and knowing how to embrace and not just accept or tolerate someone is really important. And so I think that as a community, for the most part, and again, I'm contradicting some of the discussions we had earlier, but I think it's a good spot to be in. Whether you're at Lavish or you're down in the Peer Support Center, or you're kind of here listening to us talk, I think it's a good place to be in if you want to feel safe and supported, and like you can be embraced for who you are.
Quickly, I feel like the first time that I went to Lavish, I felt more comfortable there than I did at any other bar in London. Like, I felt like I didn't have to worry about a guy coming up to me and be like, hey, like, no, I like girls. And usually if you say that, they're like, so are you bisexual? No. And like,
It's not the worst. Like, so do you want to have a threesome?
Oh, that's it's just really, it's frustrating. So it's like, there, you don't have to worry about it. Like, if you just want to dance, you just have to dance. You don't have to worry about some guy trying to like, grind up on you. So it's nice to just feel comfortable.
Definitely that. I do have to say, don't get me wrong, I love the Seeps. Like, I love it. It's very close to my place. Like, home. It's very great. But it's true, obviously it's a very heterosexual atmosphere, so people will come up to you and always like, oh, like, let me dance with you, and you're like, yeah.
You don't love the experience on the Seeps?
Yeah, actually, okay. Well, this is one of the situations. We're just sitting, and I think what we did is we shared one kiss, and we're in, obviously, yes, this very heterosexual venue, but we shared a kiss, and the guy decides to sit down beside us and be like, you two should come home with me.
I hope he was like a model and a billionaire.
He was actually kind of butt fuck ugly, but like he had the confidence to like calm us down. I'm like, kudos to you, but like I literally turned to him and I was like, you need to leave. I'm like, you need to get up and leave. Like, you have absolutely no right saying this. And he did leave, but like it happens. Like, no offense to all of you, really great, inclusive, non-piggish heterosexual guys out there, but there are some that are on the opposite range and they'll see two girls who share a kiss and will just automatically think, oh, maybe, I'll have it in. And it's not the best feeling.
I've been in that situation. One time my cousin and I went to a bar and then I brought my now girlfriend. And so we're just like hanging out. We weren't even like all over each other, we're just like sitting really closely. And this guy just jumps like over the booth. He's like, are you guys lesbians? So,
oh my god.
I kind of, yeah, he's like, I feel like a unicorn. Like, I'm just like this rare creature. So it's like when I'm at a straight bar, we're like, oh, that's so cool. Can I like ask you about it? So it's like, I don't mind, but like, I don't know. It's kind of like, I don't see why they make such a big deal. It's like, let me do my thing.
Yeah, you do you. I do. It's okay. Well, we have a question from the audience and a question from the Twitter, so let's get to those.
We do. Our question from the audience is, how do you feel about trans or being with someone who is trans?
Who wants to tackle that first?
Well, I'll tackle it first. I think, so I think that as a trans person, what they're doing, their whole transition, their whole process of whatever, I'm stuttering, but it's very brave, and I think it's very important, and it does bring a lot of more awareness to a lot of different sexuality issues. I can say though for myself, I know that I would probably never be comfortable with somebody who identifies as being transsexual or transgendered. I just know that my preference has always been for women who identify themselves as women. So I guess the term would be cis women, I guess, is the way to say it. But anyways, I like women who identify as women, so I know that I would personally not be comfortable with somebody who's trans, but I totally respect where they're coming from and their preference and everything about them. I actually even look up to them almost because I find it so commendable.
I think for myself, like I agree with Valerie, honestly, like I don't know if I could be with someone who's going through the process, because for myself, like I identify with women who are gay and like want to be with women and stuff like that. But honestly, like the process for someone who is trying to transition, I think it is such a brave thing to go through. And I very much like respect it, and I love talking to people about their experiences with it, but I don't know if I could put myself in the position of being with someone who is going through it at that moment, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think for me, I just don't know a whole lot about trans issues and what is facing that group of people. And so I don't know if I can really answer this question responsibly, because I've never known somebody who is transgender or who's going through a gender transition. And only just recently, I don't know if it's just me, but like the gay men in my life are like a wealth of knowledge. And I have routinely had good gay friends who are male, and I just drill them about things. And they usually produce really great answers. And so I have a friend who's gay who's in health studies and knows a bit about trans issues and the transgender community, and so I was asking him some questions, and that was really even he probably didn't know nearly as much as somebody who's actually identifying as transgendered would. So I don't know if I can answer it responsibly. I think that people are people and love is love, and if I ever met somebody who I fell in love with who was transgendered, then I don't think I would let that gender identity really stop me from loving them, if that makes sense.
All right, and the second question is, have you ever tried to quote-unquote convert a straight girl? And have you been successful in doing so?
Callie, I think you should start this, considering that's kind of your type.
Straight Girls 101. I don't know what it is, and maybe they all hook up with, okay, that sounded so arrogant. All the girls that I have hooked up with hook up with me. I don't think I've ever been with a girl who hadn't experienced an attraction to men, and most of them were identifying as straight before they met me, not really after.
Superpower, I'm telling you.
I think it might be that I just don't know very many girls who identify as being gay who are in the gay community that aren't already paired up with each other or have a serious history, and so I guess maybe it's a bit of a challenge in some ways. It's no, but come on, really? When you could have this. I don't consider myself a magician or somebody who tries routinely to turn people, but I find myself, if I'm attracted to someone, I express it, and sometimes they reciprocate, and they might have and I must admit it's usually confusing for them, and sometimes frustrating for me, and a mutual frustration when it's oh no, what have we done here? And what I was mentioning earlier with my first girlfriend who was never sure, and I get the line, it's just you sometimes, which is flattering, but I don't know how much I buy it, it's
I dig it. It is me.
It's certainly hashtag globally famous. No. I don't know. Maybe a lot of again, sexuality is fluid. I just think maybe there are a lot of curious girls out there, and I just find them.
I think that it's a lot more acceptable anyway for women to experiment. So you can find out that one of the girls that you know has been experimenting with another girl, and it's totally okay for her to go back to men. Because heterosexual men seem to love that shit. But yeah, I feel like women have more of an experimental tendency, so it's a little bit easier for women to change other women, or at least bang them one time.
Okay, so for myself, like I go to an all-girls university college. That partially helped me come out, but I mean, I've never tried to convert a straight girl, because I kind of look at it the perspective of the girl who, if another girl's hitting on them, like how maybe uncomfortable they may feel if that's not what they want to do, if they've never experimented or something like that. Like, doesn't mean I haven't had, like, I've had crush on straight girls, I've just never tried to act it out, just because I don't want to make them uncomfortable, or like if you're friends with them and then you end up like not wanting to be friends with you afterwards. So it's not that I wouldn't try it, but I think it would have to be in the setting of just not, like just somewhere else that it would be more acceptable, like if it was a club or something like that, maybe I'd try it.
I've actually had girls come up to me who have told me I do self-identify as being straight, but have still come up and approached me, especially, this occurred a lot in high school when I came out, because I was like the only gay girl in high school. They would approach me and be like, you know, I am straight, but I've kind of always wanted to try, and I heard you were gay, and I'm like, because Valerie's so hot.
Cheers, though.
It's in your story. Bashful.
Well, and obviously I would accept, because I'm like, free hookup. Well, I not to say that like I paid for it. You paid for it. I just mean like, oh, like easy venue to you know, be with this other girl, this straight girl who's coming to approach me. So I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, they're straight. You can't reciprocate really well. Which sucks a little bit.
I can't say I've ever tried to convert someone. Like, for a while, I called myself a baby queer, because like I'm just like new to everything. So like, the one time I was at I think it was at Jim Bob's with one of my friends, and I was talking to her about like how I was thinking I was a lesbian, and there's a couple of straight girls around me. They just kind of like looked at me and like walked away. So I don't know.
They wanted you. That's why.
I think I kind of just like scared them off. Like, cool, whatever. I don't care. But so I don't think I could ever convert someone. I think I'd scare them away.
Or maybe you overwhelmed them, I don't know.
With your beauty. Hey! I'm so glad we're having audience interaction. We have another question.
There's another one. People who claim to be homophobic but love lesbianism. What do you say to those people?
Idiots.
Well, most of those people, and I'm not going to overgeneralize, but I feel like most of those people would be heterosexual men. Always.
God bless them.
I'm not saying that like all heterosexual men, but for a large generalization, I guess I can say they like lesbians, and I think that it's kind of a little bit like, if you're going to be inclusive to one part of the LGBTQ community, you should definitely be inclusive to all. And I actually kind of think, if I'm going to be honest, it's a little perverted for them to be like, well, I'm homophobic for everything except that. It's a little disturbing to me.
Men have this fantasy that, you know, like two girls kissing and like it could turn into a threesome type thing. And I find it absolutely ridiculous that they can only be inclusive to one type of the spectrum and not anything else. And I mean, there's obviously, like, for some guys, there's this, like, fear of if they're accepting of guys who are gay, that means, oh my gosh, that must mean I'm gay as well. And I just can't understand the fact that they can't be inclusive to everything else except that. But I mean, obviously, for men having this fantasy, like, they just don't see it as two girls being gay. They just see it as, oh wow, that's really, really hot.
I don't know, I feel like the Lesbians did this to us, like Ellen DeGeneres. Like, I used to be scared of the gays and the word gay, and I know now that that was like an internal struggle that I was having, but I love, like, Ellen DeGeneres was like the best thing ever. I was like, Dory's gay, this is great. And then you look at like prime time, you have like, and I like, this is like a normalizing part of like the way that, you know, pop culture discourse is happening. You have, you know, like Callie in Arizona on Grey's Anatomy, Brittany in Santana, and you have this like these normal relationships just kind of being thrown out there without too much like up in arms over primetime television. But I feel like that might have partly like something to do with it. I don't know if it's like the first step of being accepting for some people to be like, oh, I might be into that. But then like you have the examples that we were just talking about where you have someone being like, yeah, kiss, like, make out, take your top off, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah, although I feel like mass media is more acceptable towards lesbian and lesbian affection than it is towards gay male affection. Because even though we have shows like Modern Family where you have like a gay married couple with a child and everything, you still have yet to ever see them kiss or really embrace or anything like that. Whereas you have other shows that are like the real L word, fucking on television, because they're lesbians. But do you really see that with men? No, not too often, or ever, really.
Well, what do you guys think about, like, let's just talk about the porn industry first of all, like lesbians in porn. What are your thoughts about that?
Nails or no? Those things.
They got like all the acrylic nails. They're like, you're like, you're dying. I feel so happy. She's out for at least 2 weeks.
Thank you.
The way that I look at it is most of the time they're straight women that are getting paid to have sex with each other. So I mean, it's not realistic at all. Like I mean, like they try to make it like seem like this huge thing, and I mean, like obviously they're porn stars, so they're kind of trained on what they're supposed to be doing. But I mean, I just can't take it very seriously at all. Like I look at two women having sex in porn, and I'm just like, you're definitely both straight.
This is not what we do. Like, what is this?
Oh, yeah, exactly. But a lot of them do things and you're like, don't, or haven't ever, and I don't know anybody who's used a straight double-ended dildo. Like, it just doesn't happen. That's like trying to, like, scissor in this awkward position with, like, this thing between, like, it's just not real. It doesn't happen. Like, so I feel like it's also very unrealistic, especially with the nails. Like, how do you want your insides, ripped or shredded? Like, that's basically like what I, that's the joke. What do you call a lesbian with long nails? Single. Like,
What do you call a lesbian with long nails?
single.
Talking well, we have. Yeah, I think, well, like, the porn industry is a commercialized industry that's bent on making profit. So if you look at the demographics of girl and girl porn, you're probably going to find that it's not catered to the 5 people sitting up here in all likelihood. It's the people who we were talking about earlier, who are homophobic unless it's 2 girls making out. So yeah, I think there's a level of realism that's missing, but then you could look at the whole porn industry that way. It's a money-making machine, right? They're selling these paid people as they're a commodity, essentially, right? So I don't think it's meant to be realistic, and in the same way that you could, to pull apart, those pop culture relationships and say, how many, same-sex acts of affection are we seeing during prime time versus, heteronormative behavior, I think you could probably examine the porn industry the exact same way and look at it as, it's a money-making machine and it's a commodity that's playing to the general population and what the expectations of heteronormativity are. So,
also, I feel like lots of the females they have this like really femme look. They have the long flowing hair, or they're blonde or whatever, and like their makeup and everything.
Fake eyelashes.
Yeah, it's just it's
Fake everything.
fake everything.
yeah.
So have you guys ever used porn to get aroused? And if so, not
Well,
lesbian
yeah,
porn?
not with a partner. Well, not yet.
We actually talked about that the other day. But I mean, like,
Leave that open.
but personally, I think most girls can say, yeah, they've looked at porn and they've been aroused. Maybe they haven't used it to masturbate, but I'm pretty sure that most people in university, for the most part, can say that they've looked at it. I mean, I definitely looked at it.
One of my sassy gay friends was like, "You've never seen porn?" And I was like, "Well, no, this was a while ago." And yeah, and I have this weird thing where watching porn with guys, particularly straight guys, not for like any, like just to be like, it's almost like
It's a documentary.
It's like what do you guys watch, like heterosexual porn or like gay girls or 2 gay girls?
Over Thanksgiving, I was with a few friends. I was with 3 of my guy friends, and I work in residence life, and one of them was like, "This is bad. I'm not gonna name him," but he was like, "I need you to stand outside my door and tell me if my students will be able to tell I'm watching porn on my big screen TV." So we did, and you could tell, we were like, dude, you need to wear headphones. And then it just, we ate our Thanksgiving dinner over heterosexual porn. It was a bonding experience, it was like a learning thing, and I was like, she's faking it, guys. I'm like, really?
You can't tell them.
Too much information.
Where was the most wildest? Is that the wildest, craziest place that you guys had sex? Oh, good stories. You have to all be honest.
Lesbian?
Yeah, lesbian.
I was gonna get a t-shirt, that's not bad, but I just added on to
Well, I don't know. I mean, we have kind of like a bucket list going, so we've tried to do some pretty bad places. Well, I don't want to say bad places, but very adventurous.
This chair was not one of them, right? Because I know campus was on that one.
No. No, it wasn't. This room hasn't been one of them yet.
Those pool tables are in accordance.
No. Well, not these ones at least. Because they're too dirty. People like to play on them all day. I don't know. Well, yeah, they're on the list. They're on the list, but
Just tell us.
Okay, I'll go. The back seat of a car that was moving because my family was in the front seat.
You're so sweet like that.
It was a van. There was some oh, this is gonna go online somewhere.
You have to explain this in detail.
No, we're not going into details. That's all you get. If anyone's brave enough to ask me about it later, I might ante up the story.
Oh, we are going to the spoke and having drinks, and we're talking about that.
Wildest place. Got it.
So before I came out, I would say the wildest place was actually a forest that was near my house. I was walking home at the time I was dating this guy, and we were walking. There's like a forest near my house, it has a pathway, and he'd been trying to convince me to have sex with him there. And before I knew it, kind of happened. And the thing is with this forest, it's not that big, so there are people that can kind of see stuff. So someone did walk by, and I remember thinking, oh my god, someone probably can see us doing this right now. It was really, really awkward.
well, I mean, we had somebody walk in on us in the the social science classroom. Actually, we had just started having sex with each other. We were in the classroom. We closed both doors in the social sci, and she was eating me out, and we didn't even like.
She's on a desk, so sorry who sits there.
And I had didn't take my pants off, they were just down to my ankle and like over her head, and she was just going at it, and this guy literally walks in, his face drops, he's like, he's horrified, and he looks up, and she's like, and he's just like, sorry, and like just walks out, like slams the door closed. Oh my god.
Best story ever.
So, I mean, like, I don't know if this is the craziest
I think we made his university experience. You took me on the Western experience.
I can't say I have yet been adventurous to hook up like with random places with a girlfriend, but like we're adventurous enough as it is. Like so like I feel so I just that's a to be continued kind of thing. It will happen maybe eventually, but not yet.
Okay, well, during sex, are you guys a top or a bottom?
I
I am so bottom.
Oh.
Are you a power bottom?
I don't think I would go that far.
Take turns.
Yeah, I mean, at least in my current relationship, we are very sharing of the positions we use. It's very versatile. It changes. For at least I think so.
Yeah, verse. I've never really like conformed to top or bottom.
Same question for you.
But as well, you know? I think it depends on what we're doing.
Okay, if you guys had to, this is the last question of the night, so does anybody else have a question in the audience before we conclude?
The last question?
No? Okay, well this one's kind of fun. If you had to marry, fuck, and what's the other one? Kill. Let's say Jennifer Lawrence, Ellie Goulding, and Sandra Bullock.
Oh, why do you think
I would marry Jennifer Lawrence, I would bang Sandra Bullock, and I would dump Ellie Goulding.
How dare you?
I'm on the same page
She's
with
a
Kelly
goddess.
there, for sure. No, anything could happen, like you get cut from this character, this trio.
No, I would kill Ellie Goulding for sure. Even though I went to her concert and I loved it, I was just like, cool, you're banging the drums, whatever, get out of here. I would marry Sandra Bullock because she's so hot. Yeah. And I would bang Jennifer Lawrence because she's funny as fuck, and like I feel like she could kind of be wild. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of incorrect because you're gonna marry me.
But I will listen, but that's true, I will.
I would marry Jennifer Lawrence. Actually, yeah, no, definitely. Fuck Ellie Goulding. Just
Yes,
say I
thank
did
you.
so. And I would dump Sandra Bullock. She's hot as hell. I agree with you, but
But she's super straight. It'd be such an accomplishment.
That cute little black baby. Oh my god, he's so cute. She has one. I'm not talking about the blind side. What? Keep up with your volume, culture, people.
I honestly, I don't know the other two people, so I'm just gonna say Sandra Bullock. I'd marry her, I guess.
Jennifer
Whoa,
Lawrence.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Are you sure?
Are you
sure? Are you sure?
Oh, no, you want to be Jennifer Lawrence's best friend. Like, you want to spend the rest of your life with her.
Hunger Games. She was
I haven't seen it.
So we're like this playbook. She won an Oscar. She
She only fell the Oscar.
Every award show.
She fell the Oscar and then she flipped the bird in the press room afterwards.
It was great.
It was so funny.
I'm gonna agree with you.
Because I'm knowledgeable.
My answer is the same as Kelly's. Like, I would totally marry Jennifer Lawrence. I would fuck Sandra Bullock, and then I would definitely kill Ellie Goulding. She's not my type whatsoever. Sorry.
But like, doesn't everyone want to spend the rest of their life with Jennifer Lawrence? Like, don't you all want to be her best friend? Thank you. Thank you. Like, I want to hear more stories about her younger brothers hog tying her in the basement, smearing peanut butter on her face, and letting the Rottweiler in the room. Like,
though because she just turned blonde. Like, she was a brunette before, so...
Yeah.
Probably and she has not straight, so...
Watch out, Jennifer Lawrence. Okay, well, thank you so much, guys, for coming and watching our panelists open their hearts about love and their sex lives. We were so happy to answer your questions. As I said, make sure you make a donation, $2 donation if you have one. This concludes our show. We're so happy that you're here.